Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and today I have some exclusive footage that you will not find anywhere else with General Kenobi and a ton of clones backing him up for the party. These guys are a lot of fun, and it was one of the first things I did when I was in Sacramento, California, hanging out with Electronic Arts, who were very kind to let me go ahead and borrow one of their developer accounts. And this is one of the first things I did. I got General Kenobi, got a bunch of clones, and we went to town, an arena, the cantina, pretty much almost everything. I got a ton of gameplay here. It's just been sitting on my hard drive for a month now. I told you guys I had over 30 gigabytes of exclusive content. I barely scratched the surface, and I figured this weekend would be a great time to do it because, as a lot of you know, I am in law school. I have one more final coming up this Monday, and I just do not have 10 hours to make my in-depth review that normally comes out every Saturday or Sunday. So good news is, the next in-depth review will be Boba Fett. Highly requested from all of you guys that we look at the Boba Fett rework and finally put him in the Hall of Fame. Great news is I have the gameplay. I got the commentary ready to go, have the outline. It just takes a long time to edit the gameplay, and I want to make sure you guys get top-notch quality, and I don't want to rush it. So that will most likely be coming on Tuesday, since Monday is my last day of finals, and I am a free man. And what I want to mention right now, for all of you who are looking forward to winter break, or if you have a lot of free time coming up this winter, what we are going to be doing on this channel is something I hope a lot of you guys will enjoy. For a couple weeks until I go back to school come January, every week we will have a special in-depth review session where we'll do about 2 or 3 in-depth reviews of characters in a particular category. So if you guys want a first order week, we will go ahead and do a first order character review where we only look at first order characters. If you want a droid week, we'll have a week where we just look at droids, or a week that we just look at Empire. You guys name it, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'll have a lot of free time because that Hall of Fame table, it's looking a little empty. So we want to go ahead and put 3 or 2 character reviews out every single week. So I will be asking you guys to comment down below what specials you would like to see. So we will go ahead, try to go with the most popular comment. So make sure if you see a comment you like, make sure to smack their like button so I can see what you guys want to make for our special weekly in-depth reviews. Moving on from that, now let's go ahead and talk about the clones here and why they are so much fun. And there is actually a reason why I'm pushing this besides the fact I can't get an in-depth review out. The clones are actually becoming fairly relevant in the game. Reason why I am saying that is because just a few weeks ago when Fleet Shipments came out, they gave us pretty much a majority of the Chromium exclusive characters to be farmed in there. Even characters like General Grievous or Darth Vader are also found in there. But when you go in there, you will notice you will have all the Chromium exclusive clones, and that is Commander Cody, Echo, and Rex. And as many of you know from my Fleet Shipments video, I am eagerly farming Rex, and if I have time, I will probably get Cody sometime, but Rex is definitely my #1 priority. Rex has been, I haven't done an in-depth review on him, but I've mentioned this many times, that Rex is definitely one of the best valued characters in the game. He used to be a Rhodium exclusive way back when, I want to say maybe March or something like that. And people who bought him, they definitely got their money's worth. He's been around for a long time. He's been premium for a long time, and he is one of the most valuable characters in the game. So in the gameplay you're seeing, we will be showing at the end me and my droids against a clone team that's actually in my arena, because when you run a Rex lead with all this critical damage flying around between droids and rebels, clones get tons and tons of turn meter, and as well as non-clones when they're under a Rex lead. So you will see towards the end, I'll put gameplay of just me playing against someone on my arena shard, and they are super competitive now. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk about each character real quick, and then I'll tell you how good they were when I tested them out in the AAT raid, when I tested them out in the Rancor raid, Cantina, Arena, all that great stuff. So first off, the person I really recommend you try to get first in terms of clones is Rex. He's in the Fleet Shipments. I got him to 4 stars. I unlocked him not too long ago. Should be at 5 stars soon. Rex is by far your biggest bang for your buck. For the Rancor raid, he is amazing. I've done plenty of Rancor guides, how to master the raid. That thing is just, it's a science now. It's so easy to get around, and Rex makes it super simple. Besides the fact that he can dispel any sort of debuffs on his friends, he also removes turn meter with his basic attack. The Rancor raid is all about turn meter manipulation. if you can slow down the Rancor or slow down the Captain, they'll never, ever, ever be able to get a turnout. That's all the Rancor raid is all about. It's just making sure you control that turn meter. And also another attack that he has is the one that he just goes to town with his dual pistols. It's a cool animation, and it does a decent amount of damage. So just between damage and turn meter manipulation, those first two abilities are great. And then he has the dispelling, which is great. Getting tenacity up, cleansing your buddies. It's a very powerful move right there. And then his leader ability it just shines. He is by far one of the best leaders for clones, aside from General Kenobi, which I've done a General Kenobi in-depth review, and General Kenobi is amazing. Not many people have him. If people do have him, it's only at 5 stars. I only have about 12 or 18 shards out of the 145 that he needs to unlock. I just started completing heroic AAT raids with my guild, so it's still going to be about another month or two before I even unlock him. But Rex is one of the best leaders in the current meta. As I've mentioned before, as many of you know, in the end game right now, in the current meta, when you compete in the top, it's all about pretty much critical damage, AoE critical damage. And when you're feeding that critical damage to the other team that has clones, Rex is giving all of his buddies turn meter. Lots of turn meter, and sometimes they'll attack really early in the game. So Rex is by far the best clone and one of the best characters in the game. And lastly, the best character for your buck, essentially. And then Sunfac, he's also one of the best characters for your buck as well, if you spend that much money on the game. I'm just taking my time and getting him, and for those of you who are farming in fleet shipments, get your ships from Galactic War. Same stuff as in fleet shipments. In my opinion, it's faster to get them from Galactic War, and you can use your valuable currency for the clones, for Sunfac, whatever. Moving on from that, let's go ahead and talk about Commander Cody, another exclusive character. And I don't think he became as popular as Rex when he first came out, but he's just a really cool character. Commander Cody was one of those critical clones during the Clone Wars, and in episode 3 when he was the first clone, or one of the first clones to execute Order 66. In the game, he has an okay kit. I mean, it's great when you work with clones, but it's not someone that should be your first priority. Someone like Rex or Sunfac, if you're farming for characters in fleet shipments, those are one of your first priorities. Pretty much Cody, most of his abilities is just to benefit himself. Like, for example, his basic, depending on the situation, the character he's attacking, he can just get a ton of turn meter for himself. So if that was going to the whole team, that would be a great ability, but it's just feeding turn meter to himself. And then he has an AoE where he can stun the primary target. And then the problem is, though, a lot of his abilities deal less damage to the rest of the people. Like, for example, for his AoE, he stuns a character, which is great, but then everyone else, they take 35% less damage from that attack. So it's definitely a big drawback, but I can understand this because he has a lot of, like, massive attacks. And then the coolest ability, which really makes me want to farm him as soon as possible, is his one attack called the 212th attack. And pretty much what this does, it just calls all the clones to go ahead and attack, and then some random person out there to also assist if they're not a clone. The problem is, each attack that goes on, it deals 40% less damage. So it's a really cool animation, don't get me wrong, but it should not be your #1 priority in terms of farming a character. And then his leader ability, not as good as Rex. First of all, Rex's ability, it's a great one of those mass leader abilities where no matter who's under Rex, it'll serve you well. Pretty much, it just gives additional critical chance to clones. Other allies gain half of that, and then plus 60% defense for each living clone ally. It's not as amazing, and then you get like a little bit of max protection whenever someone uses a basic ability, so it's nothing as critical as Rex. You know, 60% defense, it's cool, but it's nothing amazing. If it would do 30% critical chance and 30% damage or critical damage, then we're talking about something amazing. So Commander Cody, definitely a cool animation type kit, but nothing that's going to make your team shine, in my opinion. In the gameplay towards the very end, where you'll see my droids go up against the clones, I felt like Commander Cody was the weak link. Even the Phase 1 clone, he was doing some amazing work. His AoE was pretty deadly. His primary attack was deadly. So if I was to run a clone army, I would probably take the Phase 1 over Commander Cody, and that's just my personal opinion. But let's go ahead and talk about the last Chromium exclusive character, which is Echo. Now, Echo is a great clone. If you really wanted to farm clones so far, or let's say farm exclusive clones, I would say Rex first, then Echo, then Commander Cody out of the 3 exclusive clones that we have as of now. Now, his basic ability, unlike Commander Cody, it feeds 20% turn meter to other allies that have less than 50% turn meter. So if Commander Cody had something like that, we'd be cooking, but Echo does have something like that, so it just feeds on top of the turn meter that a Rex lead would already provide you. The next thing, his AoE, it's one of the most damage dealing abilities in the game in terms of AoE before mods, abilities, and all that are considered, and it also dispels all positive status effects. So not as good as someone like B2, but it does come in handy once in a while. And for clones, it's a lot of fun to know that you have a mass buff stripping ability. It does come in really handy, so keep that in mind. And then the next few abilities, it's mainly for recovering health, and also he has an ability that lets him assist off another ally, and then it's doubled if it's a clone. So if you're running a clone army in arena or anywhere, Echo is a great choice. You know, if a clone attacks, he has a 60% chance to assist off that ability. So a lot more utility, in my opinion, over someone like Commander Cody. So just to kind of summarize the exclusive clones, we're not going to talk about 5s or the Phase 1 clone trooper, because those are free-to-play characters. This is mainly kind of a guide on what clones you should be farming in order in terms of exclusive ones. And as of now, Rex is by far one of the best characters in the game and the best clone, in my opinion, so he should be your first priority. And then if you want to keep going, I don't recommend getting all 3 clones back to back to back unless you have all the characters in the world. You should be getting Sunfac as your number 2 priority if you're farming characters in fleet shipments. But if you want your clones, Rex first, Echo second, and Commander Cody third. And you might not want to farm Commander Cody because the Phase 1 Clone Trooper is a better character, although very hard to farm. I would actually recommend, if we ever get General Kenobi one day, to run General Kenobi as the leader and then go ahead and do, let's say, Rex. Echo would be next. Phase 1 Clone Trooper, if you can get a hold of him. I don't even have him at 7 stars, but a lot of people do have the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. And then 5s. We're not going to talk about 5s in detail because we know a lot about him and we will have an in-depth review on him one day. But the reason why I would say consider 5s is because General Kenobi can make someone like 5's taunt, which is something that only technically Baze has, where he taunts and then he has a counterattack that puts speed down. 5s would be a good character to also protect you guys, but keep in mind that if 5s taunts, there's a chance that Kenobi might also taunt when someone gets critically hit. So when you have 2 taunters up, most likely people will go for a General Kenobi so they can avoid the counterattacks that 5s would feed off to you. But in case you don't want 5s because of that very reason that I just mentioned, then Commander Cody was definitely a great fit. I used him for a lot of things, and it was great having the second person that can do like a mass group attack. So between Kenobi's mass group attack, where he just calls everyone that is buffed to assist him, and then Commander Cody's assist, where everyone just comes in for the party, it's pretty deadly. And what I'll do, I'm going to kind of wrap this up here. I know General Kenobi won't be with us for a very, very long time. I have another... If we do 2 heroic raids a week, it's going to be about 2 months before I unlock him. So I'm thinking end of January, beginning of February, I should have General Kenobi just unlocked at 5 stars. But the reason why I'm making this is because a lot of you guys might be anticipating that one day you will have General Kenobi, like a lot of you have Han Solo, which I'll actually have him to 7 stars hopefully next week finally. It's been a couple months now. But yeah, so if you really want General Kenobi and you really want to relive the Clone Wars, go ahead and farm those clones in that order, but make sure Rex is your number 1 priority, and don't make Echo and Commander Cody your next priorities right away if you haven't had characters like Sunfac in your inventory yet, because those are very important. And you also might want to consider farming maybe the exclusive ships that are just in fleet shipments and not in Galactic War, like Boba Fett ship. And Boba Fett has one of the best ships in the game when I tested him out in California. So there you have it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead, put up the gameplay at the very end so you don't have to hear me talk, and just watch how the clones operate in arena. And against droids, they're pretty deadly. Against other types of lineups where we have 3 tanks, it might not be as good, but I can tell you guys now, I saw people with Rebels go against these clones, and I saw my droids go up against these clones. and the clones love having a battle. They have a heyday going around and destroying these types of guys. So I hope this video is helpful in terms of what clones you should be farming in what order, how they are with characters like General Kenobi, and how they fare up in Arena, the AAT raid, and the Rancor raid. And guys, we will have that in-depth review coming shortly. So if you are excited for it, leave a like, comment down below on what we should be doing for our weekly in-depth review specials, which will be starting sometime next week after Monday. And subscribe, guys, and we will talk again soon. Peace out.